Hey guys, Level Cap here. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. New gameplay footage of Crytek's upcoming Battle Royale inspired FPS Hunt Showdown has been released. In the 12-minute demo, the game's creative director walks an IGN writer through various highlights of a match. In Hunt, players roam a large, open map looking for clues as to the location of the match's boss monster. Populating the world are AI enemies that range from humanoid zombies to animal-like monsters, as well as two-man teams of other players. Finding the match's boss enemy reveals its location to everyone in the world, leading to a showdown between you, the boss, and everyone left alive. Killing the boss starts a timer. When the timer is finished, players can collect a trophy and then must get to an extraction point to win the match. While playing, you can find new gear and level your character up. Dying, however, is permanent. If you get killed in a match, you lose all your progression and loot, setting you back to a fresh character. Despite its early state of development, Hunt has great visuals and atmosphere. That's something most games in this genre really lack. The creative director made a point to call Hunt a competitive game, saying if it doesn't play or run well, nobody will care about it. So despite the game's lush visuals, the devs are targeting a competitive FPS performance. Now towards the end of the demo, there are some obvious FPS issues when several players engage in combat, but the game is still very early in development. Crytek's goal is to get the gameplay up to snuff, then work on refining the game's visuals and performance. Overall, it seems like Hunt Showdown could end up being a really exciting and innovative title. Most Battle Royale games share the same mechanics of random loot, constricting circles, and pure PvP combat. Hunt does similar things but in very different ways. Forcing players closer together to fight over an objective instead of pushing them towards each other with a random circle is an interesting twist. It leaves the rest of the map open to explore. One team might be tracking down the boss while you totally avoid the area, giving the option of swooping in at the last minute and wiping out the other players after they've been weakened. It's a creative way of solving pacing issues for a Battle Royale game. Instead of the game always dictating the pace, now it's up to the individuals and them playing based on their individual skill set. Now, when it comes to the world's most popular Battle Royale game, and really one of the world's most popular games at this point, PUBG just hit 15 million units sold and a record 2 million concurrent players online. PUBG's previous milestone of 10 million units sold was announced about a month ago. Leaderboards were originally scheduled to reset on the 11th of this month, but the reset has been delayed to the 16th. Unfortunately for players trying to get a high rank, leaderboards have stopped tracking progress until they reset on the 16th. FORTNITE is also boasting some big numbers. The free-to-play game's Battle Royale mode has racked up 10 million players so far. It also hit 525,000 concurrent players this past weekend. When it comes to cheaters, the game's developers Epic isn't pulling any punches. They recently filed a lawsuit against 2 support personnel for a cheat providing website. The lawsuits against cheat makers and distributors have gone in favor of devs before, so it wouldn't be surprising to see Epic win theirs. A visual overhaul of the classic Counter-Strike map Dust 2 has been released by Valve. It updates the game's most popular map design standards to the other overhauled CSGO maps such as Nuke, Inferno, and Overpass. Player models for Dust 2 Terrorist were also completely overhauled. The new map is currently only available on the game's beta branch. Several bugs, some of which existed in the previous version of the map, have already been discovered by players. Valve is taking feedback on the update and is open to suggestions for both visual and gameplay changes. When Valve first announced an overhaul was in the works, many prominent community members published their ideas for an improved version of the map. It looks like Valve's goal with this initial release was to clean up the map and remove its problem areas, as opposed to substantially changing the way it plays. Down the line, they may change the layout of the map more based on community feedback. Ghost Recon Wildlands is running a free trial this weekend for the release of its new PvP mode, Ghost War. A welcome addition to the game, Ghost War actually plays pretty darn well and getting additional content in the future. During the free weekend, the full game will be available at half price. Any progress made in the free trial will transfer to the full game should you decide to buy it. Warframe's new open-world expansion, Plains of Eidolon, has been released. It's the game's first open-world environment and is a very large one at that. Coming in at 3 square kilometers, there's plenty of new areas, enemies, missions, and more for players to explore. The expansion also released with an update that rebalances some gameplay mechanics and adds a new Warframe. Players of Middle-earth: Shadow of War have figured out a way to cheat in-game, giving them unlimited resources for buying the game's now infamous loot crates. What exactly the devs plan on doing in response isn't clear. They'll most likely patch the exploit eventually, but there are other methods of getting around the game's loot boxes and marketplace, like not agreeing to the game's terms of service when starting a new playthrough. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is also generating some serious controversy over its loot box system. The game awards star cards and other unlockables via a random crate drop system. Some of these drops level up your abilities, giving you exponentially better stats the more you level them up. Most games give you incrementally worse upgrades over time, so while you're still getting improvements, they get smaller and smaller the more you level up. If you want a full breakdown of the system, including my thoughts on it, be sure to check out the video that I already did about it this week. This is a big problem and something I really hope DICE improves before launch. DICE's official response to the issue so far is that most powerful upgrades will only be earnable by completing in-game achievements. They haven't really given too many specifics on how they're going to change the loot crate system. The annual Halloween event for Overwatch is now live. It adds several new skins, emotes, and other cosmetic items to the game. It also brings back Junkenstein's Revenge, a co-op brawl mode where 4 players defend a point from waves of increasingly difficult enemies. The standard mode ends after a set number of waves have been cleared. A new mode called Endless Night allows players to keep going until they die. The Halloween event ends on November 1st. VR's next generation of games and hardware is right around the corner. Oculus VR recently announced the Oculus Go, a standalone VR headset priced at $200. Details on what exactly the Go is capable of are scarce, but it looks like owners will be able to play multimedia stuff like movies and concerts, as well as access some VR titles. The Go doesn't require a phone or computer and is totally wireless. It has built-in speakers, a headphone jack, and ships with a new version of the Oculus motion controllers. It looks like Oculus is going after the casual gaming and entertainment markets with this new headset. Competing units like Samsung's Gear VR and other units that work with phones have been the go-to entry point for prospective VR customers. Unfortunately, the experience those devices offer is really subpar. If the Oculus Go can provide a premium experience at a budget price, it could really change how VR is viewed by the average consumer. Valve is also working on some new VR tech. The next generation of their VR tech, STEAMVR 2.0, will see the system's room-scale environment expand from a maximum of 132 square feet to a massive 1,075 square feet. The upgrade will require new tracking boxes. The new system should start rolling out later this year or early next. As for the new headsets, Valve is most likely switching to a cheaper LED panels for their displays and new devices. OLED is currently the go-to technology for VR displays because it looks much better when viewed from a very short distance, but it's also very expensive and hard to produce. LED technology has apparently caught up enough to rival OLED displays. This could mean Valve's next VR headset will be more affordable. Their current system, the HTC Vive, is priced at $600, but was closer to $800 at launch. With the Oculus Rift now selling for $400, it's likely we'll see the devices launching at around a $500 to $600 price point next year. Respawn Entertainment, the developers of the Titanfall franchise, are currently working on a VR combat experience. Aiming for a more realistic depiction of a soldier in combat, the game is targeted for release sometime in 2019. To me, that sounds very exciting, and I hope it comes with a realistic gun controller as well, as that is one of the drawbacks for using any type of rifle weapon in VR. 4A Games' VR title Arctica 1 has been released. 4A is the developer of the Metro franchise, and it shows in pretty much every aspect of Arctica 1. It's set in a post-apocalyptic Russia, featuring gameplay in tight interior spaces. Visually, it's pretty great, especially for a VR title. It's also pretty long for a VR title, with the average playthrough lasting at about 6 hours. By comparison, most VR titles, including more premium ones, last around 2 to 4 hours. Finally, in Battlefield 1 news, the October update is here. It makes a ton of tweaks and bug fixes to the game. Probably the biggest update to the game is operations are finally available in the server browser. Unfortunately, it looks like most North American servers are a bit on the empty side. If you want a full breakdown of the patch, be sure to check out the video I did on it earlier this week. Operations campaigns will debut next month. These are a set of operations that players will complete to earn unique rewards. The first operation campaign is called Eastern Storm. It combines 2 operations from the In the Name of the Tsar Brusilov Offensive and Red Tide. Completing the operation campaign by scoring enough points before it ends will reward players with a special battle pack and an operations campaign codex. At least 3 more campaigns will be released. November's will combine Iron Walls and Conquer Hell. In December, the next DLC for Battlefield 1 Turning Tides will be released. It's a naval-themed DLC and introduces a new faction, the British Royal Marines, as well as the usual maps, new vehicles, and weapons. An event celebrating 15 years of Battlefield is going on right now. Players that sign in before the 16th will unlock a set of anniversary dog tags. Anyway, that concludes today's episode of This Week in Gaming. I am very excited for that new CryEngine-based Battle Royale game, The Hunt Showdown. It looks kind of exciting and a new, interesting take on Battle Royale. As always, guys, I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.